All right, everyone, it's time. I made an entire video about the controversies of the Suicide Squad. Now it's time to talk about whether or not I liked the game or didn't, and basically, what did I learn from playing the game. But first, it's time to talk about... Oh, hold on. It's time to talk about Suicide Squad. Why did I pour it from one glass to another? Why not? And for the sake of not getting in trouble, WB did fly me out to LA to meet Rocksteady and play this game. This video is not an ad. I was allowed to say whatever I wanted, but I do have to let you know that I was flown out there on their dime to play the game. So, just so you know the situation, I don't want anyone to say, "What?" Anyway, let's move on. Now, for those of you who are here looking for the controversies of Suicide Squad, I covered them all in a video. I discussed my opinions on the leaked storyline, and the opinions of the fact that it was a fake leaked storyline, and my opinions on the idea of using Kevin Conroy as this being his last role. Just to reiterate the Kevin Conroy situation, the man knew what he signed up for. He picked it. He actually said in his last years that he enjoyed doing an evil Batman, which is why he also came back to do Batman Beyond in the CW as an evil Batman. The link to that video will be down below. It turned out to be quite long of me discussing the controversies, but if you are interested in that, it'll be there. Today's video is going to be discussing the gameplay elements, what I enjoyed, what I didn't enjoy, how I feel about it being in the Arkhamverse, and then we're going to be discussing the story elements that I got to experience. We'll also discuss the one controversy I didn't touch on in the previous video, which is the Poison Ivy thing at the very ending. Just figured I'd let you guys know up front what the situation is. All right, now I'm ready to do that. Let's start it off at the beginning. In order to understand my opinion on this game, I feel like you should understand what kind of gamer I am. I am the multiplayer, looter shooter, MMO, RPG, plays a game because it's a live service because he can never stop playing with his buddies kind of a guy. What I mean is, I play Final Fantasy XIV. I play World of Warcraft. I play Destiny. Wow, I took one sip for the sake of a skit. Come on. I play Destiny. I play Borderlands. I play Lethal Company. I play Fortnite. I play Among Us. What I'm getting at is, I'm the kind of gamer who actually sits down and I look for games that I can play with my group of friends. Now that means that we actually enjoyed Avengers to an extent, because any game you play with your friends is more fun. And when a game is broken like Avengers, it leads to more laughs and hilarity. One of the best games that a lot of my buddies like to play is the one that I hate. It's called Ark. And their exact statement is, it is so janky, that's why it's fun. It's also why I don't like Ark. So what I'm saying is, I liked Gotham Knights, I liked Avengers, and I'm telling you now, I enjoyed Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League. Now, before you leave, Katrina, let me explain what I mean by I liked the Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League. Because while I know George and Alex are huge fans of the Arkham franchise, that's why I liked this game. It's not an Arkham game. When we think of an Arkham game, you think of being Batman, that insane sense of power. You think of the ability to sneak around the city, do it stealthily, do it loud, go in with gadgets, go in with crazy reversals and crazy power-ups and stuff like that. You think about taking out Batman's villains. And that's fun. That's exactly why we like the Arkham franchise. But when I sat down and played Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League, I played as Captain Boomerang because, one, I wanted to see what Captain Boomerang does with guns and why is it fun or isn't fun. And two, because I want to run fast. I'm Sonic the Hedgehog. Gotta go faster, faster, gotta go fast. That was me. But playing the game, the best thing, because everyone's like, oh, it looks like Fortnite. It looks stupid. It doesn't look like Arkham. It's not. It's not Arkham. It felt like Crackdown meets Fortnite to me. That's what it felt like. I was running around the city, and this is the first thing I'll tell you about. We're running around the city, and Dan's going to put up some footage of me running around. I'm using the Speed Force, and I'll explain how the boomerang works in a minute, but I'm using the Speed Force to get around. The city is populated with the primary missions you need to go to. But on the way there, you have things like Riddler races, where they put up a bunch of portals, and you need to run through them. That was a lot of fun. I enjoyed that. But what made it more fun was racing against the three other people that I was playing with. Because King Shark was beating me. Because he could just jump super long distances. But on top of that, we would then do things for upgrades, such as do a horde mode, where we would spend 10 minutes fighting off a ton of enemies. The enemies would spawn on the buildings around us, adding verticality to our movement on the map. So I would have to do things like use the Speed Force to teleport. Apparently that's an ability that Boomerang can do, and I'll explain that in a minute, to teleport up to a different building. And if I fell short, run across it at Speed Force levels to catch up to the new enemy. Or you would have to do things like rescue the civilians that are showing up. I had a lot of fun trying to throw the boomerang as high as I can to teleport as high up as I can to try and attack the choppers. You know who can't attack the choppers? Captain Boomerang. Our Deadshot took care of that. There was also a lot of fun verticality in the city. There's a whole point, and I doubt we can find the footage for it, where I just stopped running around with the team and I found a way to teleport myself onto a broken bridge that ran throughout Metropolis. I then tried to run through it as fast as I could and not fall off of it. It was just fun moving around. The traversal was insane, and I was having a good time with it. Captain Boomerang is more of the up close and personal character, which is actually where I'm going to comment about the boomerang. Everyone's like, how do you feel about Captain Boomerang using guns? First off, Captain Boomerang does use guns, but you're right. He primarily uses his boomerang, and he does in this game as well if you want to. Captain Boomerang throws the boomerang, it's charged with the Speed Force, you teleport to it, and then you can run with more Speed Force. Or you can do melee combat by using the boomerang. I don't know about you, but I've never been to the Australian outback, which is where I assume is the only place that they're going to use boomerangs. Because who the hell uses a boomerang? I'm pretty sure a boomerang can't go as far as a bullet. Hence why he would use the guns and then the boomerang. The boomerang melee attack is actually very strong, and there's a bunch of cool finishers. There's this one where Captain Boomerang takes the boomerang and he shoves it right up that guy's, and then he just rams that, like splitting him in half. Blood and guts and all kinds of stuff is going everywhere. And it's awesome. It's so cool to see the things that he can do with the boomerang. But he has to use the gun, because otherwise I'm running around trying to melee everybody while Deadshot is sniping them from across the map. I feel like the use of the guns for the characters is more as an equalizer, because if King Shark and Captain Boomerang need to use their melee abilities primarily, and Deadshot kills everyone, that's not fun. If you've ever played a co-op game with your buddies and you're trying to run around and do the melee stuff, you notice that you don't get a lot of kills in. That's because your friends are killing them. But it makes more sense if everybody has a gun. Because what I was doing is running around with an assault rifle, and I'd swap over to the submachine gun as I got closer, and if I got to the enemies, then open up with my boomerang melee abilities. King Shark played the exact same way, except that he could leap massive distances, to the point where it was kind of funny that I couldn't run that fast. Why would Captain Boomerang use the Speed Force and not run that fast? The answer's simple. He's using a broken gadget from the Hall of Justice that doesn't really work like the Speed Force, but it saps some of the power. So he can't run at Flash level speeds, which is funny when I get to the Flash boss fight. Playing the game, running around the city in general, felt good. The traversal was amazing. It was a lot of fun. Playing the characters felt good, and every character felt 100% unique from each other. Captain Boomerang, I was able to throw the boomerang around and warp to it at top speeds, and then do crazy melee attacks. King Shark had this awesome minigun, but then he would just leap into the middle of combat and just wreck everyone. Harley Quinn's like grappling hook all over the place, using the batarang to throw it up there and then hook to it and go. And Deadshot's using a jetpack to fly around and do sniper shots. Nothing I just said sounds like an Arkham game. That's what I'm getting at when I try to describe the kind of gamer that I am. This sounds like a fun time with your buddies. In terms of the actual story segments, the story itself felt like Arkham. The way the story was being told, the characters acted like their Arkham counterparts. Batman acted like Batman from Arkham. The story itself felt on the level and quality from what I got to play, which was only a small section of Chapter 3. I want to throw that caveat out there right now in case this was the polished story segment and the rest of it's just a mess. What I got to play felt on par with the Arkham storytelling and the cutscenes and on like what I'm looking for. From what I got to play, it looks like Rocksteady has put together a fun co-op version of Batman that they're going to turn into a live service, and I'll comment the live services in a minute. Now let's talk about the characters and what you can do with them in general. One thing that I really, really did enjoy, there is no leveling up in the game. Anybody who has played Destiny or Avengers or Gotham Knights or any of these co-op story-driven games with their buddies knows the annoyance When you get halfway through the story and your other buddy buys the game, and now you have to start over because he's not at the right level to play with you, and you can't really go to him because you're going to destroy everything. So it turns into you hard carrying your buddy, or it turns into your buddy having to play alone and you can't play without him. They removed levels in their entirety from what I noticed. What we're getting instead is just skill points. So there's like a light level system. We're all kind of on the same playing field except for the skill points. It's not like I'm going to be stronger than my friend by baseline because of that. The guns are also not at levels. Anybody who's played Borderlands or Destiny will know how amazing that feels. Because the most annoying thing ever when playing a game that has loot is when you get the loot at a low level and then you have to throw it away because this random garbage gun is so much better than what you picked up. I asked them about that. I'm like, are the guns just never going to be at levels, or is this the build you're letting me play? And their response was, we didn't want you to have to replace guns. Instead, all the weapons, gear, and everything about it is all going to play into a certain build idea that we had in mind. So, for example, one of the build, they gave me all the guns and the equipment to make a build called Turkey Shoot work. What that does, and I do know I got some of that footage for Dan to see, is I can freeze the enemies, which pops them into the air using the Speed Force, and then it's a turkey shoot. I can just blast them all as I want. And then when they land, I just start ripping into them with my boomerang. That was just one of 4 possible builds in the test build that we got to play. That's where the game's progression seems to be. Unlocking costumes, working on your skill set, and getting guns that you can actually just use whenever you feel like they're going to be fun to use. You're running around the city doing races, you're doing rescue the prisoners or rescue the survivors, and you're doing horde mode stuff. And then you're doing story-driven things. That seems to be the general flow of the game from what I got to play. Again, I want to say, from what I got to play. Now let's talk about The Flash. We'll be able to use a little bit of the footage here. None of this footage is mine. They gave us some B-roll of the Flash's fight going well. But I'll tell you the story of what happened in my particular fight. So the way the game ends up working out is we end up going out there, and it's almost Mega Man style. You need to find a way to defeat the Flash. The Flash is able to outrun everything. I'm going to give Dan a cutscene right now that we're allowed to use, and shows Deadshot trying to just shoot the Flash. It's hilarious.
Take the shot already!
That's the Flash? You might as well post him the bullet.
Did you get him?
Speed demon!
Man, you know it's gone to hell when you... Really? Why don't you just mail me the bullet?
So what ends up happening is you go on a quest for Toy Man, Toy Master, Toy Guy, Toy Boy. He's not the Toy Man we're used to. Let's just go with that. And it's basically to find a way to slow the Flash down temporarily using anti-Speed Force bullets. Not anti-Speed Force boomerangs. Sorry, Captain Boomerang fans. And basically the way it works is we go into combat and you have to use these anti-Speed Force bullets to stop the Flash slow enough so that you can actually do damage to him. It doesn't kill him or injure him. It slows him so that we can actually hurt him. To me, I got very much Mega Man vibes off of that. You know, where you go do something to get the power to do this thing to the boss. That's what it felt like to me. You then proceed to fight the Flash in what was a pretty epic battle. Now, in our battle, it ran down to me and one other person. I want to say King Shark. We were the only 2 alive, or maybe Deadshot. It was down to the 2 of us. I'm at top speed running around the map trying to outrun Speed Force tornadoes while running into Speed Force tornadoes, because you try running at top speed around a map avoiding tornadoes when there's tornadoes in front of you. It's not easy. It's like a minute to get the hang of Captain Boomerang, all right? And we're taking shots of the Flash. What happens is you end up defeating the Flash, right? As we all know. And the name of the game is what actually happens. The Suicide Squad kills the Justice League. Or do they? We're shown an off-panel, we're shown basically that Captain Boomerang kills him. But we don't actually see the death. Now, that could mean he's alive. That could mean that they injured him. It could mean a number of things. That could mean they kill him. Who knows what's actually happening? But it's implied that Captain Boomerang does it, and it is in seeing it in the video. in the actual cutscene, and it's also implied that he's kind of heartbroken about it. Now, there is something I forgot to mention about the actual combat, and I want to bring it up here because I mentioned Speed Force bullets to slow guys down. A lot of you are going to be like, well, what about the classic rock-steady combat, where you can do classic counters and stuns and stuff like that? They actually have guns for that, as weird as that is. So, like, certain enemies can do two different things, which in my version, we had two different things you could do. And you have different moves where you whip out another gun to do a counter or a stun. So that's still in there with the guns, which I found to be a bit weird. But once I got the hang of it, it really flowed well. And that's pretty much the game and my opinions on it. I thought it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed my time with it. Will it be as fun alone? I can't vouch for that. Any game that I've ever played is just a blast when it comes to playing it with friends. Like I said, you can get the jankiest, most broken game ever, Avengers, and it's fun when you've got three of your buddies all joking around, all going, look at me, look how stupid I am. Oh no, I'm stuck in the wall. You know, it's just fun. But the game does have an offline mode and stuff like that. Now let's talk about the live service element. I'm a firm believer that a live service is a good thing. And I know that's the pitchforks and the torches are coming out. But here's the caveat. The live service has to be done properly. If you look at a game like Fortnite, it's amazing what they do with that live service. Like, you at no point will you go, oh, you want to play Fortnite? Oh, that game's so old. I beat it so long ago. No, you're going to go, oh man, what have I missed in Fortnite? Destiny sometimes gets it right. Sometimes they don't. It's very debatable. I mentioned Destiny, and Dan's watching this to make sure I don't flub up any stupid stuff, and he literally went, But look at things like World of Warcraft and Final Fantasy XIV. There's a constant flow of content. In my opinion, what makes a good live service versus a bad live service is not a roadmap or whatever. It's just constant things to do, constant content. The moment I get tired of a live service is when there's nothing to do. So if you tell me that there's going to be a Suicide Squad game with free characters and free updates that all play into a live service, and there's going to be multiple seasons that are already planned out, supposedly we have 4 seasons already planned, so you're telling me that I have a game that I can play for a couple of weeks, get some fun skins, get off the game, and then come back in 2 months and play the game again with a new character and my old skins, and then just keep going. I'm on board with that. Now, I like it. But again, it comes down to a live service being handled well and how it's monetized. That's a whole video in itself. I'm not going to go into that here, but it sounds like they're giving away free content in Suicide Squad Kills of the Justice League, which means that they're probably going to be making you buy the battle pass and they're making you buy costumes. And if that's what it boils down to, I'm on board with this live service. Buts around. If you don't want that, from what we've seen leaked and what's going on and what they've said, the game has an offline mode. You can just go play the baseline story, get to the ending, and call it a day. That's the end of that. And that is, in my opinion, the best situation. WB wants a live service that's never going to end, and you're telling me that the story of Brainiac and the Suicide Squad will end, but then have continual adventures? I'm on board. But if you're a gamer who just wants to get to the end of the game, complete it, and be done, you also have that option, it seems. So now I've gotten to this point in the video. Let me just give you my opinion on the Poison Ivy controversy, since I haven't. For those who don't know what the Poison Ivy controversy is, one of the trailers shows Poison Ivy revived, but as a child. Then Harley Quinn is talking to Poison Ivy, and the internet at large took that as Harley Quinn is hitting on Poison Ivy. I have seen that full clip, okay? Let me explain. I have seen the full clip. It's in my video feed. I was actually at the chapter we played at. Harley Quinn, as far as I'm concerned, is not hitting on Poison Ivy. Why would people assume that she is? Because after the first Arkham game, when there was no relationship between Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy, the rest of the DC universe kind of established this Harley Quinn-Poison Ivy relationship, to the point where Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy are dating in the Harley Quinn cartoon show. So people see her making a comment at a young Poison Ivy, and they just assume that Harley Quinn is hitting on a young Poison Ivy. I've played that whole segment out and gotten Poison Ivy back to where she has to go. My take was that they were not in any way anything beyond we know each other and we're friends. There was never anything that came across to me as a romantic gesture or a romantic implication. Nothing. I'm sure somebody's going to tell me I'm wrong, but I'm just telling you what I saw playing that chapter. Okay? And that's pretty much it. I think I covered all the general gameplay questions. Again, if you want to know more about the whole leaked storyline, opinions on everything, what's going on, and my opinions on the leaked story and what I think is going to happen, because all I got to play was that chapter. Starts with Harley Quinn, ends with the death of Flash. Or death. So I don't know anything else outside of that. That chapter was very solid. The gameplay was fun. The story felt like an Arkham game to an extent. The characters and tone all felt right. But then you had the Suicide Squad humor and jokes, which I found to be really funny. It was really hilarious, a lot of the stuff they did in that. But outside of that, if you have any other questions, comment them down below, and I will be going through. If you have any, and I mean any questions, if I played it, I'm allowed to talk about it at this point, so I will answer any questions I can down below. And as far as this video, we're pretty much at the end here. If you want to know what's going to happen when the game comes out, I'll be playing it on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Comicstorian Gaming, where I go live every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at about 2 p.m. Eastern. So if you want to see me playing it or you want to join in and have some fun with me, that's where you're going to find me. But overall, thanks for watching the video, and I'll see you next time right here.